Hey again. The game now look very nice. So if two person want to play the game on same device, it's really nice. So two people and he will find who is the winner. But this is not the end of the story. You will not play the game with the device. With two players they play on same device. It's like a little bit hard. Now what we want to do in this video, we want to make you play with the device. So now the game, when you add anything, the device add another thing. So now what you want from the device, you want from the device to find the empty location, and he could add data inside location. So now what we want to do, we want to identify a new method, which is autoplay. So I would say void autoplay. This autoplay will be between you and the device. So how the device could do autoplay? First of all, the device need to find the empty cells. That means empty places. So how you find empty cells? You have to do for loop between I equal 1, I less than 10, then I plus plus. He want to find the empty cells. So now he would do this way. He would check. He would say, hey, if the player 1 dots contains the I, or player 2 it's capital should be player 2. If anyone dot contain the value, that means the cell is full. So I will not use that cell. The cell that be used, like if I check for one and one is used by player 1, he will find it here. If I use it by player 2, he will find it here. So in this case, I don't take it ever. So I make sure I say, hey, if it's not in this case. So that's mean if the item is not ever, if the cell is not used by player 1 or player 2, I would take it. So now I want to add it in the new array list. So I need to define a new array list. Did you see the way that we define this one? So I would define here same thing. I would say, hey, first of all, I would say array list of integer, okay, will be empty cells. I just find the empty cells equal same thing, a new instance from this array list. So a new instance from array list. So this will hold all unselected cells. This one will select all unselected cells. So he will find any cell is not selected yet. So I would say, hey, if this cell is not selected, please add it to the list. So really easy. I say doing for loop from 1 to less than I. It's better if you don't like this word, you say cell ID. I would like use it this way, so to be more coding convention. Like if cell ID is not available in the first one and is not available in the second one, that's mean added. So by the end of this loop, I will have all unselected cell here. Now I want to the second player will select random location between these. So now I need to get random. So I would say rand index. First I need to get the random element from this array list, from this empty. Maybe there is 4 location, you have to select randomly, just randomly. So in Java, to work with random, really easy. Just first of all, you have to say random. For example, r equal a new random from class random. This class will enable us to select random value. So I need to get random index. I say, hey, r dot next integer, next init, and next init you give it some input. So you say what the max value, what the minus min value, then you say plus the min value. So what the max value that you don't want to include it. I don't want to include the count for this one. So dot count, hopefully dot length, right? Size, yes, dot size. So I don't want to include size. Was the first element expected I would select it? 0. Was the minimum? 0. So I would suppose I'm selecting index between 0 and the size of the element. So if this one have, if suppose I have 3 element here, if size equal 3, so here I suppose he will select either 0 or 1 or 2. So he will select one of these. So now I have the index. Now I just really easy process. Just take that index and pass it to the array. So through the I need to get cell ID. So integer cell ID equal from this array list, which is empty cell. Just say dot get. He will bring the empty item. Okay. So now this one will be able to bring me the cell ID randomly between any empty cells. So now I have empty cells, but I don't want to define only the empty cells. I need to define also the button that used by that empty cells. If you remember, when here we have events, he will define for us which button, like what is the button, what's the button ID. So he will be able to find it for us. So we need to do same process in this part, because this play game expect two parameter. Expect from us to send him the cell ID, which what we have, but he also expect us to send him the button. So now I need to find the button from the ID. Again, same way that we did there. To remember, this select cell to us between 1 to 9. I would use same way. So I will do it in this way. It is better for me to do it in this way. I will show you how. Then before I send it here, I need to define the button selected. So button selected here, it's just button. It doesn't initialize it yet. Who will be responsible for initialize it? The select cell. So if he selects cell here, I'm just checking on select cell. If he selects cell number 1, I would expect him to find element ID 1. So I would expect button select, which is BU select, would be the button 1. So it would be button, initialize it to button, find the view by ID in this way, find the view by ID for the button 1. So if he select 1, I expect him to return this one. If he select 2, I expect him he will return 2. If he select 3, I would expect him to return 3. Hopefully everything is correct. If he select 4, I expect him to return 4. Same thing. If he select 5, I expect him to return 5. If he divides by randomly select 6, I expect the initialize will be for button 6. See how I just try to follow same pattern, which is good. If it's 7, so I would say, suppose I'm initialize the button to 7. If you select 8, so now we just did the reverse process, because we don't have any information about the button. So how I would get the button from this one? It will be really hard for me to find the button, but with this way, no, I would be able to find the button. So 9. So now the button select should be able to be identified by this one. So I have the button here, and he selects by default. So he here just give you error because he say made be initialize it, but I'm sure to be initialize it. You could do default value just to avoid this one. So by default, he will initialize it to number 0. It will not happen in this case ever, number 1, but it's just to avoid that error. But you have to make sure this is just to pass this error. But this case never happened because you have 9 element and he will catch them. So now yes, I have the autoplay. I just need to call it. When I want to call this method, I need to call it after player 1 play the game. So if you see here the play game, here the player 1 play the game. So now I would call it here. So when I call it here, he will go to autoplay. Autoplay will be here, which is, this is my method for autoplay. He will do what he will do: find the empty cell, get index, select element, he play the game. Then the player 2 will start, and that's it. I think everything is cool now. Let me see, run and see, could we play the game with a device or not? I think it's be a little bit complex for you using some random variable, but yes, see, when I select this one, he select that one. I select this one, he select that one. He just select randomly. See? Yes, that's great if you see. But the problem you see it now, that both player win. First I win it, then he win. Now you just want to add some condition in the code. When the player 1 win or player 2 win, he will not continue. And this is your homework. Thank you for watching and see you next.